let me get to it was really a great post-game show. Actually, those are my favorite kind of post-game shows when two people have something to say. Okay? Those are the best. You know, John and I had a great conversation after. I mean, we're not budging off of what we feel. But you know, Big Sills, I'll throw a curveball and hit you in the nuts. Okay? I will. I'll admit it. I'll scream at the fans like Nick. And there's a guy in the middle. Yeah, I tell you what, he's got a balancing act because in the morning he's got to sit down and listen to John. He's got to go, I kind of do see a side. Then he listens to Big Sills and he's like, shit. So he got a tough job in between the both of us here. Without further ado, the co-host of Birds 365, Big Z. Zander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
What a day for you, dog.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, it's been a hell of a couple days. I absolutely love what I do right now. It's so much fun, honestly, doing this stuff and talking about this football team. And I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Yesterday's post-game show was one of the best. When two people got something to say, that's what makes great content. And I believe that the world needs more healthy discussions about things. You know, echo chambers are no good, Sills, no matter what side you're on. And I thought you guys both made good points. I maybe would have got rid of some of the personal jabs in there that you guys took at each other, but I got no issue with you guys going back and forth at it. No, I get it. I know it adds to it. It adds to it, but I love both of you, so it's tough to be in between the two.
I get it, man, and I think you have a tough job doing that too because you got to kind of keep it on the rails there. But here, without polluting it here and giving you leading questions here, give me your takeaway then on the Jags game.
Disappointed that the players played so good and it's been entirely overlooked again. This is now the second time this has happened this year. Now, I'm not saying the players played that great last time they got a win and it was overlooked because that was the Browns game. But, you know, Nick Sirianni just keeps becoming the lightning rod of this team. And I'm not sure that that's a healthy approach for a winning organization to be great late in the year. And that's my fear with the game. I think Nick Sirianni had obvious bad decisions in this game. Now, I will say I'm not of the opinion that every time he went for it or every time he was aggressive was a mistake. I do not view it like that because where John is correct is that it has been an advantage for the Eagles. It was an advantage for Doug Peterson when he was here. So, but there's moments and there's circumstances and there's instances in a game and there's situational awareness that has to be used. And I believe that's completely lacking because at what point do you look and say, is this aggression or is this idiocy? Right? Is this aggression or is this me being foolish and reckless? And I don't know if he's established where that line is. And you know, you told a great story in the postgame show about learning that lesson, you know, for Jimmy Johnson learning that lesson. And will Nick learn it in time? That's my fear. Wait, let me add though. I'll add, I believe Nick Sirianni will learn the lesson. One day in the future, I believe he'll learn the lesson. Will it be in time for us to capitalize on one of the best rosters we've had in the city of brotherly love? That's my fear. That's my fear. And I don't understand why even John, right? Like this is where I'm in the middle of you two, because I agree with some of the aggressive calls, but how do you not look at some of those decisions and say, this is just common sense? I don't care how good my percentage is on that 2-point conversion when they took a penalty. The point after gives me a 3-score game, and they get the ball after half.
Game's over.
There's no common sense used there.
No.
It's just like, I'm going to be aggressive, and that's my philosophy, and I don't care what any of the circumstances are. I believe that's bad thinking.
That's reckless.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where I'm wondering if they got to figure out where to draw that line. But, you know, I'm not going to sit here and be doom and gloom, honestly. I think the team has played great football. which makes me feel good. In the last couple of weeks, they've started, not played great yesterday, but you're seeing the offense come together. You're seeing Saquon. You're seeing, Jalen Hurts. Can I give you some stats on my man, Jalen Hurts? The last 4 games, this is why I'm upset, right? Nick Sirianni's getting all the talking points. And I know you don't like to talk about Jalen, Nick.
No. I think a lot of those statistics versus these last couple opponents have to be tempered.
No, I agree with that. Well, listen, you can only play who's in front of you. But you're right. I'm not saying give him the MVP or give us a Super Bowl now, but I'm pointing to the trend of what's going on. Jalen Hurts, ready? Last 4 games. I'll try and be quick with it. Versus the Browns, he was 16 of 25, 64% completions, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, a 126 rating. Versus the Giants, 10 of 14, 71%, 114 yards, 8.1 per attempt, 1 touchdown, 0 picks, 119 rating. At the Bengals, 16 of 20, 80%, 236, 11.8 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, no picks, 132 rating. Jaguars, 18 of 24 is good for 75%. 230 yards, 9.6, 2 touchdowns, no picks, a 132 rating. That's an average of 128 rating in the last 4 games. Now, you're right. You're not playing the best teams, but you can only play who's in front of you. And I'd rather see him do that than what he did in the first 4 games.
Then why are you in games? Why are you in 5-point decision-making games against the Browns and the Jags?
Nick Sirianni.
Okay.
Nick Sirianni.
Now, you're talking about the players trending in a good position, and they are all of them across the board. The coaching staff is not trending, and the coaching staff has not gotten better, except for this. I think the coordinators have. I think the coordinators have right the ship. But how would you like I said last hour, Zander, how would you like to do your job, get you in a position to get the points that you're hired to get? Your coach parachutes in and goes, let's run a screen pass on 4th and 1 instead of the tush push because it was jammed at the goal line twice. Where that play for the last 5, 6, 7 years has been a staple of Philly. He decides to go, dude, was that analytics really? Would you think that was an analytic decision to go off the tush push? I'd like to know that.
I think Nick got in his head.
Taken off that.
I think Nick got in his head. They stopped it twice, and he got in his head and said, I got to go away from that. Now, if you're going to go away from that, then just don't go for it. But I see with that play, I don't have as much of an issue as going for it as I do going away from the tush push.
That's right.
I would double down and be like, the chance
I would have won again. I would have ran it again.
Exactly. The chance they stop me 3 times is so low.
Slim.
But here, and let me just play devil's advocate real quick and play the other side, not the McMullen angle, but a different angle, trying to make reason. And I want you to be as objective as you can about when you respond to this. Is there a chance that Nick Sirianni is still early enough in his coaching career that you're kind of watching him evolve? I'm not saying the decisions yesterday weren't bad. They were putrid. I was very pissed off at them. But remember guys like Andy Reid. Remember Kyle Shanahan is a modern version who hasn't gotten better at it. But you remember what the big knock on Andy Reid used to be? He couldn't manage the game. He couldn't manage the clock.
Yep.
Right? Now, Nick Sirianni, I don't have a problem with how he seems to be coaching the football team. The in-game decisions have been spotty and questionable at best. Can he learn from that? Those are fixable things. Now, like I said, will he be able to do it in time? I don't know. But I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of potentially, he could get better and take this roster. I don't know. Maybe I'm being way too optimistic with that.
So I'm going to spend all that money and put a $200 million offense together, and I'm going to have a guy on the training job trying to get better in my offense and hoping that he gets better in time. And I'm going to put those superstar players, and I'm going to have an inadequate head coach to go and run that ship. I think that is ass thinking, and I want the absolute best coach that I could possibly find to run that thing. So let me get. I'm not picking on you, Zander, but by the way, there's a lot of people.
Nothing personal.
Hey, by the way, there's a lot of people that look at that and go on the job. So I'm going to spend all that money, acquire all that talent, bring in a brand new offensive coordinator, and I'm going to have a coach who's still learning on the job. hey, dude, kick me in the head. But, I mean, the weakest link in your offense is your head coach. The guy running the ship is your weakest link. Seriously,
dude. You make too much sense there. It just doesn't make sense. And look, I'm not even trying to be overly critical of Nick because I think Daz, puts it in. Andy Reid and Bill, they got 30 more experience, right? I mean, how many, you know what I mean? Nick is gonna learn, but to Sills' point, the time is now. And is Nick gonna cost us this thing? That's got to be the fear with everybody. That's certainly my fear, no doubt about it.
Zander, I'm gonna bring up a guy's name that this was a guy back in the day, and I doubt you probably never heard of this guy. And his name was George Seifert. And I'm going to show you something here. And I'm going to show you a guy. Sirianni kind of reminds me of Seifert. Okay. So let me show you something here about George Seifert. And then you tell me if you see the parallels here when you're talking about a coach like this. Now listen to this. Super Bowl champion, first year 14-2, next year 14-2, next year 10-6. This is with the Niners. 14-2, 92. 93, 10-6, 94, 13-3, 95, 11-5, 96, 12-4. So he gets fired after he lost that game. Goes to Carolina, 8-8, 7-9, fired 1-15. Can it be possible? Just possible. This guy's the beneficiary of an organization that has never had a coach with a losing record since 2000. Think of that. Chip didn't have a losing record. Andy didn't have a losing record. Doug didn't have a losing record. Why wouldn't it be that the organization, remember what we say here? They do a lot of things right, and they win a lot of good things. At the end of the day, he's a beneficiary of an organization that wins a lot. He's not a reflection of that record. The record is how the organization even sees it, Zander. They see that record of 40-19 as their record, not his.
Yeah.
I mean, they've never had a coach with a bad record.
But what am I supposed to do? Take it away from him? I mean, this is where he was hired.
No, but what I'm saying is it's not what it is. Look at the end game. How about this, Zander? We're not talking about in-game play calling decisions. We're talking about in-game decisions that hurt the football team's chances of winning when it matters. You should never. Here, let me read you something here. What Lane Johnson said. And what Lane said here about what he thought in that football game. Here's Lane. By the way, can I play that John Clark thing or no?
Yeah, from the locker room?
From the locker room.
Yeah, you want me to pull it up on here instead?
Yeah, please, if you can.
Yeah, let me do that. Give me a sec, all right?
Yeah.
And all super chats, we'll get to all of them. We always do them at the end of my segment.
Absolutely.
So thanks, everybody.
Promise you guys, we will get to all of them. I swear. And how about this? How I'm talking here has rubbed some people the wrong way, and it even rubbed John the wrong way. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you listen to like what Bob says? Listen to a guy with an Oklahoma draw, and listen to one of your great football players, Lane Johnson, and what he says about what that game was for him on Sunday. I mean, Zander, I'll tell you what, I haven't even heard it yet.
You're talking about the 40-point comment, right, from Lane?
Yeah, the 40-point comment.
Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up now.
Somebody just put it on my Twitter page, by the way, or on my X account at Dan Sileo Show. Yeah, here's Lane Johnson talking about the game Sunday.
Yeah, lack of focus. I think, when you get up on teams, a sense of complacency can naturally come on you. And with the talent level in this league and the players, that are in this league, they will expose you. And, that's really what it's like week to week.
Here.
I hope that music better not flag the show. We pissed.
Here. Oh, wait a minute here. They had 21 first downs. They were 9 of 17 on third down. They had 450 yards of total offense. They ran the ball for 237. They held the ball for 40 minutes. And they won the turnover battle. I don't see a lack of focus. But how was that a game where the Jags had the ball game in their hands to win it? Well, get this. how do the Jags even are in this thing? 14 first downs, 3 of 10 on third down, 51 total plays, 215 total yards, 3 turnovers, dude. Get this. So you're telling me if the Jags have 2 less turnovers, they win?
Yeah, I mean, remember where they got back into the game, though? They did get back into the game on that bullshit call. It was a bullshit call. And I'm not going to
put. You got to overcome that shit.
You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. But it's easy to look at the game and be like, "Oh man, Nick cost us." But there were moments he had bad decisions, but that game turned on a head in 14 seconds. When Vic Fangio kind of defense got shredded. Maybe also, I think that another thing that hasn't been talked about, Doug Peterson adjusted coming into the second half. That defense was not the same defense in the second half as it was in the first half.
Completely outcoached Doug, or Doug outcoached Nick and outcoached him. It was evident he outcoached him. Shit, I think Kevin Stefanski outcoached him in that game that kept Cleveland close in that ball game. Well, let me ask you one of the topic questions in our poll question. Do you think that Sirianni's going to cost the Eagles the Super Bowl? Or a shot at it this year?
Did he cost us last year? No, right?
The year before?
No, I mean last year in the playoffs.
Last year? You tell me, with that in-season decision-making that was going on. You tell me.
Maybe, because apparently it's been reported that he was the one that wanted Desai out, which I thought was a stupid move at the time, and it looks like it was a stupid move now in turning back and looking at it. But and I don't really think he cost us in 22. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it was Nick that cost us in that game.
I think those 2 coaches are highly underrated. That were the coordinators, and I will.
Well, I agree with that, but I'm saying
I'm backing down on that.
Is, will he cost us a Super Bowl? I don't believe Nick did anything that season to cost us a shot at winning that thing.
This guy is so not qualified to be your head coach. It's so.
I'm just going off of what I've seen, though. I mean, I can't. Yeah. Am I concerned? 100%. Can I sit here and say he's going to cost us a Super Bowl? I can't yet. Do I wonder how that's going to fare versus a better opponent? Yes, I do.
How about this? Has he gotten out of the way this year like I predicted he wouldn't?
No, he hasn't been out of the way. He's been in the way far too much. Far too much.
So you think he'll – like, how about this? You play Detroit like you did with those decisions that you made on Sunday. You beaten Detroit?
No.
Are you beating a healthy Niner team?
Yeah, I think we're better than the Niners this year. Now, they just opened up the practice window on Christian McCaffrey. We'll see, but I mean, they're not the same team right now.
Well, right now, but we'll see.
I do think where I think you're right is I haven't counted them out. They're going to be in that playoff.
You won't be the same team without AJ either.
Yeah, we haven't gotten an update on.
What did I hear? Preliminary 3 to 5, maybe. Did I hear something like that? 3 to 5?
Here's what we know about next week. Dak Prescott's been out. He's been ruled out. Good. And CeeDee Lamb, it came out today that something happened with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
He might play, but it's not really looking too great for CeeDee. So he might not even play. But
they got okay.
And Nick Sirianni just spoke, and here's a tweet from Jeff McClain. Head coach Nick Sirianni declined to address injuries to A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley. Both had an MRI. Brown had an MRI this afternoon, and from what I understand, he isn't expected to miss a significant amount of time. And Barkley experienced some tightness in his back during the game, an NFL source says. He said after that he'll be ready for Sunday's game with the Cowboys. Yeah, Barkley, man, that hurdle was dope, but he took a shot on that play. You can see it to the back, and it kind of whiplashed him a little bit. So he definitely took a shot there, but nothing on AJ yet. We don't know. I don't expect him to play, though, to be honest with you.
According to John Clark, Nick Sirianni says, looking back on all decisions when it comes to going for it and 2-point conversions, he would not change any of those decisions. He says it is a lonely place when you don't convert a 4th down. He says he was doing everything he could to help this team win the game. And he says those decisions are made with trusting of the players.
Yeah, I don't know how we can view it like that. Well, you want to run through the decisions real quick? Because I've been waiting to do this. And I kind of charted them out a little bit to see, like, all right, where would I have...
hit the like button, all super chats will be read, I promise.
Where would I have went different with Nick Sirianni here? Because let's just run through them. Second quarter, Eagles are up 10-0, right? Nick goes for it on 4th and 3 at the Jacksonville 22. That was the pass to A.J. Brown. That was late. That was broken up by, I think it's Darnell Savage.
What was the score?
10-0. 10. And they're at the Jacksonville 22. Now, me personally, I'll tell you right now, I have no issue with going for it there. That's the exact type of play that the Eagles have used in the past to build, to have an advantage being aggressive. They wanted to put them on their heels and get in the end zone there. The play call wasn't a problem. It was 4th and 3, and you're at the 22. I didn't have an issue with the play call there. The execution was bad, and Jalen Hurts was way late on the throw. But
so
I'm not going to criticize
you're going to pass up a 3-score opportunity that they would have to come back for to keep it a 2-score opportunity if they fail.
Well, 10 and 13 is still a 2-score
13,
game.
No. Okay, 7 and 3 is 10, and that add another 3. If you kick the field goal, it's 13-0. That's a 3-score.
Yeah. I didn't have a major issue with that decision.
Okay, so you put a team that has been struggling all year long, putting points up, and are 24th in points. You think that not keeping it a 2-score game with the worst thing that could happen versus going for it there and making it versus a team that's struggling at 2 and 6 and making it a 3-score where you might force them to have to throw the ball more, which means more turnovers.
But that's the next decision. The next one was second quarter up 16.
I question that one there because I may have kicked it there and had a 13-0 game, forcing them to have to throw the ball more, where Trevor Lawrence in the first half was struggling mightily. So go ahead.
I like that. I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna say, if I was the coach, I would have taken the field goal. I'm not going to kill him though for that decision.
He had 21 yards passing in the first half.
I'm not going to crush Nick for that decision. If I was a coach, I would have done differently. But
what do you think Belichick would have done there at that?
Taking the points. Belichick's old school thinking. Second quarter. Now this is the one that's egregious to me. Second quarter, they were up 16-0. They just got in the end zone, right? And almost ended in the first half. A penalty gave them a 2-point try from the 1. They go for 2 from the 1. Now that's where you could have made it a 17-point game and you make it a 3-score game there instantly.
No, if it's 16, you put 3 on the board, it's 19-0.
No. This is off a touchdown.
Oh, okay, off a touchdown.
They got the touchdown and then they went for the 2 because there was a penalty. Got it. So they gave them a yard.
What would the difference have been?
Exactly. That's what I said. An extra point. That's it. Versus you take the point after, you make it a 3-score game. Like that's I don't care what John says. I don't care what anybody says about how aggressiveness. That is a bad decision. You take 1 there, it's a 3-score game.
We can debate the first one if you look at it score-wise. The second one, I think it's absolutely ridiculous for 1 point.
It's egregious.
It made not any sense for 1 point.
No doubt. Jay Brown says if the field goal is missed, everyone's saying, yeah, what a perfect world that would be, Jay Brown. Both plays have probability, Jay Brown. Which one is a higher probability of success, Jay Brown?
Correct.
That's a stupid take by you, dude. Shit, you can miss a point after, Jay Brown. That's a dumb comment.
But get this. What he's doing is missing a point after versus a 2-point conversion. What do you think has a higher probability of failure? The 2-point conversion.
Right.
How dumb are you?
Next one, third quarter, they're up 22-0. A penalty, same thing. Gives them a 2-point conversion from the 1. They wanted to make it 24-0 instead of 23-0. I don't see why. It
just doesn't make sense. I mean, what's the end game there for that?
I don't know. What does 24 do for you that 23 doesn't do? I don't understand.
Right. It's still a 3-score it's still a 3-score game. I don't dude, do you understand when I'm watching this game? I'm sitting here going like this. What's the point? Why is he doing this? What's the point?
I don't get it. And then all of a sudden,
by the way, I'm going to be transparent with you on something here. I won't lie to you. Seth Joyner was texting me the whole time during the game going, are you watching this? And I went like this. How could you not?
Tell him to fucking come on the show and stop being afraid of Jacob.
He goes like this to me. He goes, dude, why is he keeping them in it? I'm like, I don't get it.
Next one. See? And this is where the next one is where the tables turned. where it started to show it had an effect on the game, right? Because I just gave you a decision at 22-0, right? Okay, easy to make an easy, right? Oh, you're not worried about nothing there. Let's go for 2. All right. All of a sudden, it's 22-16. Now I'm up by 6. I could have been up by 7, and really I should have been up by 8 at this point. Nick goes for 4th and 1 at the Jacksonville 25, resulting in a turnover on downs. I mean, it's 22-16. You could take a field goal and make it a 9-point game.
Right.
Like if there's ever a moment that you can make it another possession game, that should be the only thing you're worried about. I don't care what the analytics say. Now, if you're arguing, okay, it doesn't make it a 2-point game or 3-score game versus
the analytics should say that.
I don't get those are the decisions that boggle my mind when the easy play makes it another possession game. And those are the decision-making that's the decisions I have a real problem with.
Is that
the last one was fourth quarter up 28-16. Nick goes for 2 from the 2 because being up 12 is the same as 13.
Yeah. Tell me what he was fighting for here with this.
Yeah. I don't know,
tell me what he was fighting. Dude, this is why I say the coach kept him in that game. Do you realize the Jags didn't have to make really, but maybe how many plays do you think the Jags made in that game to keep it close? 7? Because I can't find where
be 7.
They were nice. They had the ball for 20 minutes and they almost won it.
I know. It's unbelievable. Now, again, that fumble was a massive turn. But again, that's why you have to factor that into your coaching decisions. Like that can't just be left out there. Oh, and if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be in this spot. Well, that's why you make it a 3-possession game. Simple, right? I mean, simple. There's moments you got to take the points, and there's moments to be aggressive.
And then, I thought about what you said to me in the postgame show last night. By the way, guys, please hit the like button about Barkley. And I went back and I watched the play, and I said, if he gets the first down, they probably get an additional 12 yards, makes the field goal a lot easier for Elliott. You probably get an opportunity there to kick an easier field goal than a 57-yarder. Instead, you turn the ball over and you give him field position. That's a meltdown a little bit there, a mental meltdown there a little bit by Barkley and he has had those meltdowns that you said.
He's had a couple of them this year.
He's had a couple nuclear meltdowns like that.
I wouldn't call him nuclear.
Well, one cost him a game.
That's true.
Okay.
He's had a couple of those decisions. Wait, let me just clarify. Ronald, that's not the one I was actually talking about, Ronald. I think, the way I view the 57-yarder at the end was, now you trot the kicker out from 57 to make up for the points you left on the board the last 3 possessions.
No.
That's how I viewed that, but that's not the one I was talking about, Ronald. I was talking about one that was much closer in. It would have been a very easy kick for Jake.
Do you think the front office? Do you think really the front office, and he looks down at these analytics and he sees things, and he's been told to be as aggressive as possible?
Who, Nick?
Do you think he's told that?
I mean, I do think there's an organizational philosophy involved that is telling them to be aggressive, but I don't know if it's more Nick or more organization. I don't have the answer for you. I don't know. I mean, which one do you think it is? I think Nick likes being aggressive, but does he like being aggressive?
I don't think Nick Sirianni could tie his shoes without being told. Okay.
You might be right about that. That's why Doug Peterson walked out of here. That's why he walked out of here. He couldn't take it anymore being told what to do. I mean, it's the worst. Imagine anybody that's at work, right? I mean, you don't want to be told all day what to do, how to do your job, and how to do everything. And if you don't do it this way, you're fired, or we
want you to do it this way with no input.
It's not a good approach. It's not a good approach to anything in life, and it's certainly not a good approach for an organization in the NFL. And that's why you don't see any of the great organizations handling their coaching staff like that. None of them do it. None of the great organizations in this league do that.
And I made an example of Dallas. I'm like, so let me get this right. Dan Quinn's got a 7-2 team, and they're leading the East. And get this, you got Kellen Moore now that you fired, who's the offensive coordinator of a 6-2 team. And Zander, you let both those guys walk out the door, and you didn't give Mike McCarthy a contract extension. Okay, who are you looking for then? I mean, you had the guys in your building.
Well, that's another organization that's shitty, right? Too much meddling from the top. Look at the great
meddling.
organizations, man. Andy Reid is able to do what he wants. Bill
Look
Belichick,
what
Mike Tomlin, able to do what he wants. I mean, you got to get, if you don't trust the coach enough to handle your organization from a football side, he's not qualified to be a head coach. If you can't put it in his hands and say, you're the head football coach, the buck stops with you, then why are we making him a head coach? It's more of a community coach.
Yeah, no, it's
more of like the appointed guy who
He's
is the lightning rod. It's not a head coach.
He's a figurehead.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, and then get this. Here was my problem, and John couldn't really answer it. So you go with the tush push, you get stuffed twice, then you throw a flare pass on the other one to go for it on 4th and 1. He was talking about player confidence. So obviously the coach lost confidence in the play.
Yeah, clearly. I said that. He got in his head there. Clearly. I mean, why go away from that? And then, and by the way, the play they called was...
It was dopey.
It was dopey. I mean, if you're going to do that, run a slant.
No shit. Have Barkley go across the middle.
Yeah, or Devontae. I don't know if AJ was still in it at the time.
Or have Hurts run it.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a dumb play call.
Okay.
I mean, the minute they started rolling that, the very second I saw that play develop, I said, this isn't going to be good. And it didn't work out.
How come most of the times after every game we're talking about Sirianni and not the player's performance?
Hey, that's how I started the segment, isn't it? The dude is just taking away everything from the players, and
he takes the air out of the room.
It's but the problem with it is deeper than that. Like, yeah, it sucks he's taking the air out of the room. Your coach in the NFL is supposed to give you a competitive advantage.
Yes.
He is supposed to help you win games along with your roster. You are not supposed to win games in the NFL in spite of your head coach. The only reason we won yesterday is because we have a talented roster. That's it. Right.
That's completely it.
And that's where it's like, what is Nick doing? We're winning games in spite of him. And I asked the question to John, and I had Jeff on this morning too. And, and I get it. And John wasn't going to relent. And, I wasn't going to sit there and have the same debate we had in the post game. But I asked, where does Nick make this team better? Right? That's the question. If you want to give him the aggressiveness and you think that's been good, okay, fine. Where does he make the team better? And I'm not talking about 22 anymore. I'm talking about right now. Past success does not guarantee future success in nothing. It's an old saying in the financial world. So Nick saying, oh, we've been successful. That's what I was going to say to John. Oh, we've been successful in the past. Okay. Why does that mean you don't analyze the circumstance of the situation? And I'll ask again. And for the people in the chat who like Nick, and I don't have a problem with you liking Nick, believe me, I want to believe in Nick too, because I want to believe in this football team. Where does he make our team better?
He doesn't. He doesn't. He's a liability. He is an absolute liability when it counts the most. And in a game of inches, in a game of parity, and in a game where you have to have the war of attrition. By the way, so the Eagles are going to be potentially 2 weeks, 1 week without AJ against Dallas. Okay. The one thing that I enjoyed watching Jalen Hurts do was that offense didn't fall to shit this time around. Why? Because they're running it more.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I'll ask you this here.
Well, hey, let's give Smitty some credit, man. He made 2 massive catches. Massive.
That kid has done everything I thought he couldn't do.
Also, that one play, not the touchdown throw to Devontae, the deep throw to Devontae that got him to the 12 or 13 yard line. That was a play action from the pocket.
He's great.
Dime by Jalen. I looked at that play. I said, "There,
you know who he reminds me of? Marvin Harrison.
Smitty, I like that comp.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
He reminds me of Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, that's pretty good comp actually.
He's got a lot, like soft-spoken guy, big volume numbers. I mean, he kind of reminds me of that.
The Jew. He makes us better by forcing us to win with one hand behind our back.
Look at my boy Dez. I love you, brother. Hey, do you think it's sustainable that Jalen Hurts can rush the ball 200 times this year?
It's a little scary to think about, but I think that has to be the approach because I think that's what makes him better. I mean, I gave you I mean, I gave you the numbers on Jalen Hurts in the start of the segment here, where Jalen's been on a tear. I mean, the average in the last four games, he's 60 of 83. It's 72% completions. He's got 844 yards, 10.2 yards per attempt, 6 touchdowns and 0 picks through the air, and a 128 rating. I think it's pretty obvious that what they're doing right now with him in the running game and with Saquon has helped him as a passer.
Okay.
I mean, look at the stats from the first 4 games to the last 4. Those are pretty incredible stats. I'll give him a lot of credit for those.
This is what Jalen Hurts is on pace for right now. 195 rushing attempts and 725 rushing yards. That's a running back season. So you're going to have him carry the ball probably as many times as the majority of the running backs in the league are going to carry it. And then you're going to turn around and ask him to throw the ball 500 times too. And that's going to be your formula. By the way, I think that is the formula. But the difference that you have with Todd Monken in Baltimore, they don't rush Lamar as much because that guy in the backfield, he is going to carry the ball.
Yeah.
Get this. And then Barkley, take a look at Barkley's carries. Barkley's on pace for 340 carries. Most he's ever had in his career are 290. You know, the guy in Baltimore has averaged, Zander, 335 carries his entire career. He's used to that shit.
Yeah, that's
Barkley's
insane, man.
not. Do you think both of these men are capable of holding this up where you're going to have 500 carries between 2 players going into the second half of the season? 500 carries between 2 guys.
All right, but let me ask you this before I even answer. What's the alternative? Because the first 4 weeks they had a bullshit approach, and me and you and Bob Brown and all the great people of JAKIB Nation said, "Why are we forcing Jalen to be somebody he's not?" So he's going to have to be able to hold up because this is the best approach for him and for this football team to potentially win a Super Bowl.
But I'm asking you, do you believe he holds up? And do you believe
I believe Jalen will hold up because he's never not held up.
Well, he's missed a couple games in 22 because
a couple games though. I mean, he was available in the postseason. A couple games. You're not talking about season-ending injury.
Remember what's his name said though? He was hurt in that NFC title game, and he was hurt in that game against the Giants because he told Peter King, he goes, "I could barely raise my arm in that game."
Yeah.
And it just so happens it was Daniel Jones, who, by the way, was pathetic yesterday. I think the guy had no passing yards in the first half.
No
I'm not
way.
sure I've ever seen that where he had no passing yards.
Game had me a little messed up because
he had no passing yards in the first half. I've never seen that stat from an NFL quarterback. 0 passing yards. And so, I mean, yeah, and you played McCaffrey in the NFC title game because Reddick knocked the guy out. So, again, I think this is a you're right, though. What's the other opportunity? Trading deadline? Do you go get another guy like you did with Adai to help out Barkley? Because let me tell you something. Every time they put Gainwell in there, I don't know.
Like you did with who? Ajayi?
Yeah, somebody like that.
Yeah, I got you. I don't. The problem with that is I don't see him investing more in the running back.
Well,
like, is how he gave up? Huh?
I'm talking about a helper. I'm not talking about a draft pick and shit like that. I'm talking about signing somebody just.
Yeah, I think they like Kenny Gainwell. I mean, they like him more than the fans like him. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. So I don't think they're going to make a move. I mean, I'm not anticipating a move at running back.
Hey, okay, you want a positive? Let me give you one here. Hey, dude, this Zach Bond guy is making me forget about Bryce Puff and stuff.
He is, man.
I don't believe Huff's hands hurt.
Yeah, he played 5. You know, Jeff Kerr gave the stat this morning, and I said it on the show, and John's like, "Oh, wait, maybe you're right about that." You know, John's like, "Oh, he only had 6 snaps, everybody.
6 snaps, he got hurt? Where was that?
Where the fuck is my milk carton? I need to get that thing back up here. Where is my milk carton?"
Oh, wait a minute. Zach Bond is making me go like this. Dude, did you see those first 4 plays of the game? It looked like he was the only guy in the field.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how Josh Sweat has picked his game up like a son of a bee.
He's quietly putting together a nice season.
I think he's going to have double-digit sacks again this year, man.
Sweat's doing good, man. Sweat looks good out there. He's hitting hard, too. He's He's got some extra power.
Making plays in
that older man age, right? I mean, like Brandon Graham's got that old man, that old man strength. I think Josh Sweat's getting some of that. He looks more powerful to me.
By the way, Mr. Potato Head, Jordan Davis had 20 snaps again. Come on, dog.
I know, and the problem with that is they weren't passing most of the game. So I think the same thing is going to be used where, the Jags were trying to pass because they were down. And I'm like, oh, good. So we just drafted a guy that
40 snap. He's played 40 snaps in 2 games.
Yeah, it's too low, man.
Too low.
Too low.
Holy shit, man. Mr. Potato Head. That's what he looks like to me right now. It's Mr. Potato Head. I don't get it, man. I mean, I think Carter played well. I watched it. I think he played
Carter's
well.
Good, man. Carter's only issue is he got to show up, and he does. When he wants to, he clearly is.
Nakobe didn't have a good game. Nakobe didn't play well in that game.
No, he didn't. But, hey, listen. He made the play when you needed him to make the play.
Okay. Hey, he did. He made one play back. It was a great play, though. It was.
Well, I don't think he had a great game, but he also wasn't burnt toast. No. Like, they weren't picking on Nakobe all day.
Excuse me. It's the Jags. What did you think they were going to do?
Well, they kind of had a couple people burnt toast in that second half. They moved the ball in that second half.
Back to being Big Dan. Gardner Johnson is garbage.
Yeah, he's not very good. He's not.
Dude, Coop! I love that kid.
Coop is a beast. Coop is a beast.
You see,
you were wrong about both of our draft picks.
White Lightning's back there hitting.
Yeah, I forget what people are calling them. There's some funny ass nicknames floating around.
White Lightning.
We got some news on AJ Brown.
Please.
Adam Schefter just tweets out. Looks good.
National guy, not a local guy.
Yeah, that's how the Eagles do it with national guys. Yep. Tests today showed that the knee injury that caused AJ Brown to leave Sunday will leave him being considered day to day. Eagles breathing a sigh of relief that Brown's injury is not more serious. I got it. So thanks everybody. And then Q Ball drops it in.
Tops then. So yeah.
Yeah, one game I would say tops. And I wonder if they'll take the approach of Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Maybe no CeeDee Lamb. Like the Cowboys might be worse than the Jaguars coming into this game.
Dude, what a break for the Eagles. They're playing all these dog shit.
They got 2 games versus the Cowboys, and they are just putrid. I mean, our man, shout out to 304, but holy 304, it's November 4th, and you're in here making super chats about draft picks, my guy.
I heard him. I saw him. Let's
get
to those super chats here because I got Gary Cobb coming.
Wait, can I just make a comment that it could be worse, everybody? All right. I know we're upset about Nick, but we got a resident Cowboy fan fucking asking about you. It's November 4th.
Hey.
Draft is like 9 months away.
4. He's right.
It's going to be a long them Dallas Cowboys content creators. They going to know every single man on the draft big board.
The Cowboys wouldn't win 5 games.
You did. You were right about that.
How about
you were right about the Commanders, too.
How about this one here, too? You ready? I was right about Nick getting in the way. How about this? I got the Cowboys with the 4th pick in the draft.
That's hilarious.
And they take Shedeur Sanders and they trade Dak.
You want to take Shedeur Sanders? I don't want Shedeur Sanders.
No. Or wait.
I'm starting to like that Cam Ward guy, though.
They take Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter is a dog.
They take Travis Hunter.
I would love to have Travis Hunter on my football team.
You spend $60 million a year on Dak and you spend $36 million a year on CD, and all you get is a podcaster, a guy screaming, and a guy going like this. We fucking suck.
If I was Gary, would you sign Micah?
Hey, no way. I trade him.
Really?
Yeah, I would trade him.
You can't let a guy like that walk out the room.
I don't think he's that guy. I don't. I think he gets killed on the run. I think he shows up, and I think he fades in the second half.
It would just drive me crazy, man. It's a shit show over there in Dallas.
Good.
I mean, they're not even putting up a semblance of a football team.
If you're an Eagle fan, you're cheering this.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm still not ready to like you're crowning the Commanders like they're.
Woo! 7-2, win 7 consecutive ball games. Best quarterback in the NFC East is Jaden Daniels.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Where are you getting Hurts has played great against elite teams?
Where are you getting that Jaden Daniels is better than a guy that won an NFC title?
Oh, yeah. Hey, keep beating those bums.
Gary Cobb will school you. Ask G Cobb what he thinks.
I'm going to. Hey, by the way, Nick Sirianni, dude, in Philadelphia, Gary may have even played for this guy. I'm going to start calling him Richie Kotai Sirianni.
We had a Kotai. Wait, let's rip through supers real quick. We'll get to G Cobb in like 3 minutes. Always Sunny says, Hurts has 7 20-plus yard touchdown passes this season, most in the NFL. How you like them apples, Big Sills? He got a cannon.
Yeah, hey, that's right. Great against the Jags and great against the Browns. Go ahead.
Yeah, AJ's day-to-day. Josh Herman says, do you think he's improved his progressions? It seems some of his sacks, you can see him looking around. I do think he's improved his progressions.
He gave up 3 sacks.
Huh?
He had 3 sacks.
All right.
Okay.
I mean,
thank God it was the Jags.
Hey, they got a good edge rusher. They got good edge rushers over there.
They do have 2 good edge rushers.
Bad. Ramir says, only thing he do is having players fight for him. Nick does do that. The players do fight for Nick. Whether they like him or not, I'm not sure, but they do fight for him. Flexing and Steppin says, CeeDee Lamb has a sprained AC joint, expected to suit up Sunday. Dak is out. Yeah, that's looking like a snooze fest, that game.
Thanks for all the super chats, guys.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Sydney Family says, coaches need to be calm and methodical. Nick is erratic and selfish, ego-driven. I agree. That's why Baylor's so calm.
I can't wait till Angelo Cataldi comes on, too, at 5:30.
Yeah,
so we're going to get to Gary here in a second. We got a couple more super chats.
Yeah, well, I'm almost on them. We'll get through them. Okay. Deep Fried says, we got 33.7% of dumb coaches and matches some of this fan base. Dumb comments, dumb play calls.
Fantastic take right there.
Premier says, you can't say those decisions would cost us if we played the Lions because the Jags stopped us doesn't mean the Lions had done the same.
You're right. The Jags are just as good as the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are a lot better than the Jags, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Nosty Beats says, coaching blunders aside, I still get very concerned that this defense will disappear for an entire quarter and allow shit teams to score at will. That will cost you in the playoffs. I agree with that.
Yeah, how did the Jags, who did nothing in that game, have a chance to win it?
The defense has been good, though. I can't be too picky on them, man. They've been solid.
They had 14 first downs, and they only had the ball for 20 minutes, and they had a last score opportunity to win.
They gave up 220 yards. It's an NFL game.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I mean, come on, man.
Crazy? The Jags make a shitty play at the end of the game, and they could have won the game, and that's a 2-7 football team.
Yeah, but I'm not putting all that on the defense. That fumble, some of those coaching decisions by Sirianni, I think more of that's there. Des the Hebrew says, Zander, do you remember when we spoke about after the Saints game, and I said Nick is taking points off the board, not kicking the field goal was going to get him fired? That might happen, Des. We'll see what happens there.
Thanks,
man.
Des to Joe.
Appreciate you, Des. He said, Deep Fried says, I feel like Nick has been messing with the wrong type of powder to make that many bad calls. Only booger sugar can cloud a judgment like that. Appreciate it.
I got to get to Gary here.
I know. We got 2 more. Let's go. Okay. I mean, he's good. Sig Lord says, in ESP's defense, it's hard to watch the game when your head is so far up Sirianni's ass. Yeah.
Elliot Spitzer Shore.
Did you I think you already read that one, right?
Yeah, I read that guy.
All right. We're all good, man.
Holy shit. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. I'll tell you what,
I'm looking forward to G Cobb.
Hey, hang on. G Cobb and then also Angelo at 5:30. I can't wait because I'm trying to – Ray Rhodes was a decent coach, was the NFL Coach of the Year at one time. Here's a guy here. So the tush push doesn't work and he throws a flare pass. I mean, I'm trying to – let me do this, Andrew. Great stuff as always, man. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Thank you, Sills. Appreciate everybody in the chat.